Hey YouTube, Bob here. Typically here on World of Nintendo, I discuss and unbox Nintendo products. This is going to be a break from the norm in which I do unbox something, but it's a non-Nintendo product. So if that does not interest you, I apologize. Please know that I will have more Nintendo content coming your way very shortly. But for now, we're going to take a look at what's in this package. And this is a unique unboxing for me in that I have never unboxed a new game or even a used game for this particular console. And I bought this on eBay, allegedly sealed in box. We're going to see how true that is because the game was only about $15. But games for this system don't tend to hold their value like Nintendo games do. So we'll see. Looks like it's packaged well. Very well. And as you can see through the bubble wrap here, it is an Atari game, specifically pole position for the Atari 2600. So give me a moment here, I'll get the bubble wrap off. There we go, and as you can see, it is indeed sealed. However, I'm not an expert on sealed Atari games. With Nintendo games, you can tell the authenticity of the seal by a little fold that it has in the seam on the side, but this one doesn't have anything like that, so I can only hope that it is an original factory seal. It's got some dings, as would be expected for a game that's in excess of about 35 years of age, and that's fine by me, because I'm not nearly as stringent with my Atari collecting as I am with my Nintendo collecting. But I do enjoy racing games. I remember playing this particular game, Pole Position, at a friend's house who also had what I think was the 2600, but what I remember is that his version of the game, I believe, said in a very muffled digital electronic voice, "Prepare to qualify." And I don't know if the Atari 2600 was capable of any sort of speech. So I'll have to see if this is the game that I remember playing or if what this memory is of a different version. But we'll take a look and see. Let me find the best way to open this. I think we'll go from, well, let me see where the game is. Looks like the game, this is empty, I can tell. Looks like the game's at the top. I better open it from the top just in case there's some sort of cardboard blocking access to the cartridge, because then I would just have to go ahead and open up both ends of the game. So I'll take my flat edge, my knife here. Get a lot of criticism in the comments for using this knife, but I gotta tell you, it does the job, especially when you have to open things like this. So usually what I like to do is start with the sides and just kind of work it in gently like that. Start at one end and let the blade do the work. There we go. Got the sides free. Now that the cellophane's loose a little bit, you can see once you make that cut, it's loose. It's easier to get into this part right here. See if I can do this without damaging. There we go. Slide that. And then usually what I do to make sure I have it open, I just stick it in and make sure that that corner is completely free. Now that I have this end done, I can take my straight edge, just kind of slide it gently down the rest of the packaging. Looks like this particular indent here for your thumb got in my way and stopped my cut. That's alright. Usually if you go in a little bit deeper and then come up, you can keep going. And I'll just make sure I've got the plastic free at the corner. There we go. Now, something that drives me nuts as a collector is when there's that permanent crease down the middle of a flap from people putting their thumb in. A way around that, especially with boxes that have those little cuts right here on the edges to keep the box closed, I like to take my flat edge, just kind of work it in and free that flap. It can be hard to do. You want to get the knife in there as best you can, as far as possible. And see how that little end of the flap is starting to come up. It's pinched between the inner flap and then the side of the box. And sometimes if one end doesn't cooperate, the other end will cooperate just a little bit better. So let's see if we can... There we go. That one worked. So once you get one end, you can usually get the other, and then you don't get that ugly crease there. Ooh, it looks like we have some time trapped in this box. Take a look. We have some staining, which is interesting. So, game is in there. Nice. A little bit of scuffing on the label. That must have happened in the factory, but that's all right. But this looks very clean. There's no scratching on the cartridge. So I do believe that this was an original factory seal. And if we take a look inside, it looks like there's a couple pieces of literature. You have a registration card, or at least something announcing the 90-day warranty. Yeah, not a registration card, just a description of the warranty. And then we take a look at the instruction manual. Looks like it's in several different languages. One player only, pole position. Looks like they go through all the languages on each page. The game. Pole position consists of 2 races, the qualifying lap and the Grand Prix. In both races, you're racing against time and other cars. You earn 10,000 points per lap and 50 bonus points for each car you pass. A lap is one complete circuit of the course. See Figure 1. There's Figure 1. Crashes with other cars are not fatal, but they slow you down. Running onto the shoulder of the track also slows you down, but sometimes it's the only way to avoid a crash. Then they go into greater detail. Qualifying lap, Grand Prix mode, game controls. You know, you got your joystick and your one button. This is pretty extensive for this type of game. Console switches, okay, kind of telling you the logistics of how to use the game. And then scoring, when scoring was still a thing in video games, transferred over from arcade games. Alright, so speaking of logistics and how to use the console and switches, let's go do just that. Okay, so my Atari setup is in the other room, along with the puppies here. There's Timmy, and Toby was there to greet us on our way in. But here's the Atari setup, along with my TurboGrafx 16. So we'll come on over here. Now, Atari games, the label has to be facing you. If it's right side up, you know you're going to put the game in, even though the label is going to be backwards. With the Super NES and the Nintendo 64, we're used to the artwork facing out. It's not the case with the Atari 2600. So, insert the cartridge firmly here. Usually a pretty tight fit. And we'll get everything else set up. I have controllers up here. And I don't use my Atari 2600 controllers, which are in here, mainly because they don't work very well. Instead, I like to use the Sega Genesis controller. As you can tell by the dust on this one, it's been a while since I've used Sega Genesis controllers for Atari. So let's get it plugged in, get the controller dusted off, and we'll see if the game works. Alright, another negative about the Atari 2600 is the controller ports are on the back of the unit. And they do share that same pin connector as the Sega Genesis, but unless you're able to pull your console out from wherever you have it, you're going to have to do some feeling around on the back here, which is the way I usually do it. There we go, got it plugged in. Let's get our TV on. Now with Atari, you have to use channel 3. So I'm going to get to channel 3 on my TV here using my remote. There we go. Turn volume on. The tuner down here. So there we are. And tune it to channel 3 and it should work. Let's take a look. There we go. Whew, that was loud. Pole position, Atari, 1983. Alright, now usually with Atari you have to use one of the switches on the console to get it to start. So, game difficulty, nope. Nope, maybe just hit one of the buttons on the controller. There we go. Yeah, did not say prepare to qualify. So the way this works is you use the joystick or the D-pad to steer. The car is constantly accelerating. The single button is used to brake, which you want to do around corners, obviously. So far, no competitor cars. Oh, there's the first one. Yeah, so far I'm not braking at all. Happy little fanfare there. I'm assuming I qualified. Alright, so there you have it. Pole position, Atari, 1983.